Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus free premium delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show, in association with Believe Network, the podcast that uncovers the minds behind the mission. Today's guest is a force of passion and purpose. Kareen Aristide is a pastor, trainer, speaker, and coach with nearly 25 years of experience helping people strengthen their inner life. From research labs to global stages, from founding movements like She Did It, Elle, to being named one of the top 100 black women to watch in Canada. Kareen's work sits at the intersection of personality, purpose, and mental wellness. This conversation goes deeper than motivation. We're talking healing, identity, and what it really means to master the mind, so the rest of life can follow. Let's unlock the tools for well-being, clarity, and growth, professionally, personally, and spiritually. Kareen Aristide, welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show.
What's up, my good people? Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show in association with GI, the state's capital, the animated series created by your boy, CJ Moneyway, and in association with Believe Network. Today, I have with me Kareen, pastor, speaker, certified coach. Yeah, I didn't say her last name because I'm not going to chop that up.
Aristide, it's all good. You can do it.
And pastor was blaming me for my camera going on freeze. And we already know what the issue is right now, but we're not going to talk about that. But I have her on the show today, and I'm excited to have her to come on and talk about mental wellness, personality awareness, and faith intersect to drive real transformational change. Welcome to the show today, Kareen.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Now, do I call you CJ or Money Man? Like, what is it?
CJ, cool. I ain't the money man. I wish I was the money man. I wish I was. No, so CJ, cool. So let me ask you, Kareen, the road to empowerment.
Yes.
Your journey spans nearly 25 years in leadership, coaching, and ministry. What sparked your passion for helping others grow?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I think that I was born, to help people. At a young age, I was already sort of like a parent, My mom was a single mom, and she went through a lot of different struggles. And for some reason, I was sort of able to be the one to help her out of her struggles at a very, very young age. So she used to seek counsel from me, and it was a good thing, and it was a struggle at the same time because I didn't really have a youth, and that's part of what was difficult as I was growing up. But then I realized that I went through all of this, not just for myself, but also to help others. So I've been helping others for a very long time. Let's just say.
Yeah, I mean, if you could start helping your mother at an early age, I know filtering it down, going, like you say, it was the capacity that God had opened up in you. And a lot of time at an early age of things, we don't know certain things until we get older. And then you look back at your journey, you say, man, this the path that he had me to go down. Although, like you say, I didn't have a youth, and you probably was, your inner self like upset, and you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have a childhood like others. I didn't get a chance to go be a cheerleader or blame other people for, other things like you did. We all just playing. But no, I get what you said. I get it. And so let me ask you, how did your academic path from psychology to science inform your current work on mental wellness?
Yeah, so before I get into that, I have to say that I had to have a personal experience to realize the importance of taking care of your soul. And so I'm from a background, a culture that, mental health is a taboo thing. You don't really talk about it. And so you're going through all these different experiences, then you realize that, okay, as a Black woman, especially, you're told to be tough and you have the whole world on your shoulders. And for me, it started really early, but it was really when I was building a business that I was very passionate about and things were going really well. But then I basically overdid it. I had the superwoman syndrome, the savior complex, I had it all, right? And so I crashed into an apartment building. I physically crashed. My car basically ran into the window of an apartment. And so I don't really know why or how I'm here, but the grace of God, because that was supposed to kill me. But that is what kind of awakened me to the importance of soul care, because I wished I had died at that time. And I realized that that was not normal, But that's when I began to really understand that if you don't take care of your soul, then your life is really non-existent. Even though we do, but if you don't take the time to be, then you may be living a life that's not even your own. And so when I went through this experience, I realized that this is not just for me. I realized that I needed to learn more about the science, of the soul, to be able to not only help myself, but also help other people to navigate what can basically get someone to try to, work themselves to death, for example, when it comes to burnout and all of those different things that as a successful, whether entrepreneur or professional, you can get into this mode where you do so much for others, but then you don't really realize that you're depleting yourself by doing that.
And like you say, I might be doing things for others, but even Jesus had to go back and get recharged. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when we try to do everything for everybody else, we don't have it. I remember one day I was riding to work one time a few years ago. And, I want to be encouraging. I like to encourage people, and talk to people on different levels and things of that nature. And then one day, like I was, going through my own things. You go through your own struggles, even when you're trying to help others. I'm encouraging all these people and this. And I'm like, who encouraging me? And so I just heard that small whisper say that I encourage you.
That's it.
As the song said, Yolanda Adams she say sometimes, that wasn't Yolanda Adams, I don't think, but it was the song say, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. And when we got God in us and on us, you know what I'm saying, we get an extra, that extra boost. Like I don't need nobody else tapping me on the back when I'm doing what I'm doing, because I know that my Lord and Savior walks with me. And he said that he'd never leave me nor forsake.
That's it. This is interesting that you bring that, because many times what happens is we get into this knowledge, this head knowledge about how God comes in to strengthen and encourage us, right? But then even though we know in our minds and in our heads certain things, in the practical way of our lives, we oftentimes don't include God. And because he's given us all of these capacities, for example, we can live a life where we're basically doing ourselves what God wants to do for us, right? And so this is where we overwork ourselves and we can get into burnout because we don't live according to the rest of God, right? And it's important when you're helping people, because what happens is people can basically transfer their hope and their strength onto you instead of putting it onto God. And so one of the most important things as helpers and people of faith as well is to point people to the source, but we need to go to the source ourselves, right? So when we come as helpers, we're not substituting the source. We're just helping people get to the source, right?
Yeah.
And I like to see myself sort of like a midwife, you know, when a woman is pregnant, you know, she's carrying this child, but then you can also translate it as, you know, all of us have a purpose and a mission, and we're all carrying that. And so the role of a helper is to help you remove everything that could be a potential roadblock to that vision really coming to pass, or that purpose to be birthed, right? So I'm not the author of the purpose. I'm not the author of the vision, but I am one that God has called to help you to facilitate the birth of your vision and your mission.
I like that. You know, because you said something earlier that made me think about something tying into what you said now, that we can do certain things or whatnot, but, you know, it may not be of him. And I remember reading, I don't know where it's at, but I remember reading something one time. It's like when we don't give thanks, you know, like we wake up in the morning and we don't give thanks to the Lord for letting us see another day, because the Bible said that this is the day that the Lord has made and I should rejoice and be glad in it, right?
Yes.
And it said that if we don't wake up and give thanks to the Lord, it's like that day didn't even exist. It doesn't even exist to us. So no matter what good you did that day, no matter whatever you accomplished that day, you know what I'm saying, whether it was great in your mind, in the end, that day don't even exist to you. Then we wonder why sometimes we get burnt out or why things not going the way that we wanted to go. Is because one thing is for sure, we're not being thankful and grateful enough for the things that we do have. And I will attest to you on that, because I was just talking to somebody yesterday about this too. A lot of times, like you were saying, that you're a vessel. God is using you as a vessel to help others, not only yourself, but to help others. But if you don't have nothing in you, like you say, I'm not, he's the author and the finisher of our faith. If I don't have nothing in me, then I can't give you anything. All I'm giving you is my knowledge, but that's not what's required. When people, like I had to tell one of my buddies one day, because he was telling me, he's like, man, people been coming to me, you know, you're telling me about certain situations and this and that, Kareen. And I say, you know what, man? I say, people are coming to you because they're looking for something. But if you don't have anything in you to give them what they're looking for, they won't get. So you have to get something in yourself. You got to get some word in you, because I just don't want to come give Kareen, because my thoughts can take you down a darker path than you already going.
That's it. Absolutely.
But if I give you this word, though, if I give you this, when he say that man shouldn't eat by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God, if I can give you that, you know, now we can move on, because it's not our thought process, it's God's thought process. And
that's it.
I'm loving it. I like these type of conversations. I love it. So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to this next question. So,
all right.
So, Kareen, your personality meets mental health. You're a certified DISC master. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, DISC master trainer.
I just wanted to get to this first, because I was just going to say DISC master trainer.
Say that too.
But DISC master trainer.
Say that too. Yeah.
So let me ask you, how does understanding our personality type improve mental health outcomes?
Yeah, so I can't speak for other type of personality models, but with the DISC perspective, what happens is that it's really about understanding yourself first and then really applying what you know to understand other people. And so when it comes to mental wellness, it's so important to understand you. Because, for example, one mental health trick for one person may not work for someone else. So understanding your personality and how you're wired or how you're more oriented towards helps you make sure that the tools and the tips and the tricks and everything that is given as general tools and helpful things that could be generalized for everyone, you get to personalize it for yourself. So, for example, I'm going to talk about one of the DISC personality types that we call D, which is D for direct. And so the D personality is outgoing and also task oriented. And so to tell a D person, for example, that they need to meditate, that's a bit of an issue because they need to be active doing something, right? And so if you want them to meditate, most of the time they need to be doing something, so you can tell them to walk. So I've worked with so many people that have the D personality type that when I've told them or when they intuitively decided to take a walk, so walk in nature, or even if it's not in nature, even if it's around your neighborhood, but the fact that you're walking and you're not listening to something to distract you, but you're actually alone with your thoughts, but you're in movement, in motion at the same time, it does wonders, right? And so those are the different things that are important to know about yourself, because what will happen is if you use a tool without understanding how you're wired or how it's best going to help you, you try it and then you say, well, it doesn't work, right? Because you don't understand that this is the element that is needed to combine with the tool in order for it to be effective.
Let me ask you a question, Kareen. I'm sitting here thinking about it. You said something earlier, and now that we're talking about mental health, you said when you crashed into the apartment building window,
Yes.
at that point you felt as though you didn't want to live, you wanted to die.
Yeah.
So that's a mental issue,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So tell us, you know what I'm saying, real quick, how did you overcome that, you know what I'm saying, like break out of that? What was your thought process at that time?
Yeah. So at the time, my thought process was, I'm doing all of this in order to just be in a place where I can provide for my family, And when I crashed, my thought process was, well, if I died, then they would have been, provided for, with whatever it is that would come from that. And so that's not a very healthy way of thinking, right? And so I needed to confront myself and see that where I am at the moment is more focused on doing than being. So my soul was sick and I didn't realize it until that happened. And so there was a process of, I did some counseling, I did some prayer, and, just being in a space where I could confront, where this was coming from, was this desire to die coming from? And I realized that I was so focused on trying to make things happen and not realizing that my presence is really more important than what I could bring to my family, right? But because I had the overachiever mentality, the savior complex mentality, and the superwoman, let's not forget the superwoman syndrome. So all of those things created a mindset that I was so focused on just building my business and doing stuff and not realizing that my presence was being basically divided, you know,
Yeah.
and trying to achieve something without understanding that my person needed to focus on what value I bring as a person, right? Especially for children. And my husband and I have 5 children, and at the time they were 8 and under. And so there was a season of my life where, you know, thank God for my husband that was very present and, you know, like a mama bear, really.
Yeah.
So they were able to get that emotional piece that was missing, you know, from me trying to basically achieve something that was not connected to what they really needed at the time, right? And so when I did all of that, there was a piece of it that really was like a realization that came. But I went back to my old ways very shortly after, because there was a work to be done to dismantle these mindsets. You know what I mean? And so sometimes you deal with a certain emotional piece, but then you have to deal also with the mindsets that are creating vicious cycles, right? And so that's when I crashed again a little bit late, like a few years later, but this time it was more of a physical crash and a mental crash. And that is when I chose to see a psychologist, which was also a pastor as well, which helped me, you know, get at the bottom, at the root of what was causing these cycles in my life, right? And so once I did that process, I realized that, okay, like, this is my mission as well. You know, it's not just me having this help and going through it to get better, but it's also to help others to get better as well.
I like that.
Check out the movement. Family, real quick. Lean in. If you're listening to this right now, then you already know the Moneyway ain't just a podcast. It's a movement. So make sure you tap into everything we building. It's a Moneyway movement music. New tracks dropping every week. It's the CJ Moneyway Show. Global ranked, purpose-driven voices. Moneyway mindset. Daily inspiration. Real talk, no fluff. You can find it all right now on Instagram, YouTube, and everywhere you stream. Just search out your Moneyway. That's where purpose lives. That's where the next level starts. And that's where we leveling up. Together. Now let's get back to the show.
And, you know, I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm thinking about a lot of things, a lot of different ways. And sometimes, you know, it take us through some things to open up our eyes because we can't see. And he has to push us. And sometimes we have to go through some dire situations to get through some things. So as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about Joseph. You know, like he could have God could have easily sent him to Egypt and been second in command right off the bat, right from, but he had to go through some stuff. He had to go through in the well. He had to go to the potter's house and he had to go into the dungeon in the prison. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some things that we have to go through certain things so that he can get our attention. You know, they're like, well, Joseph was this and that. But Joseph, you got to understand Joseph. He was trying to be Superman. He had the dream. He had the coat while his brothers didn't have nothing. So he probably was a little privileged. You know what I'm saying? And a little faulty in itself. The Bible don't say that, but we have to look at human form on how we would be. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Just like I look at and so sometimes we have to go through some stuff for him to open our eyes up to see clearer of what purpose he really has for us in our life. And you know what I'm saying, just to set us down. So you're talking about Superwoman. So this is not Superwoman. This is called Supercharge. In your upcoming book, Supercharge Your Well-Being.
That's it.
What is one practical tool people can use to enhance their personal growth?
Yes. So one of the things that I talk about in the book is defining what it means for you to be well, Because sometimes we adopt different definitions, or we look at society and we're like, okay, this is what it means to be well. So I often talk about plagiarism, because we adopt certain things that are not truly for us, but we're looking at other people and we're saying, okay, I want to look like this, or I want to be like this, so this is what I need as well. But it's not true. So you have to define what it means to be well for you, because it's very different for me than for you, right? And so understanding that and coming up with your own definition of wellness is one of the foundational truths about supercharging your well-being. Because if you don't do that, then you could get into a mode where it's never enough, and you never get there because you're always seeking something that is not coming from the inside out. That's another aspect of my approach that I talk about it a lot, is living from the inside out. Most of us live from the outside in. And so once you start to really analyze your own inner world and realize, okay, well, what am I standing on really, right? And so for us, believers and faith-raised people, it's so important to live spirit first, soul second, and body third. But the society that we live in is completely contrary, right? So it's the body first, then the soul, and then the spirit. Most people have no connection or no understanding of who they are in spirit. And so we need to decide what wellness means. And for me, you cannot have a good definition of wellness if you're starting from the outside in. It has to start from the inside out.
Perfect example. I love it. What does he say? He say that he don't look at man like man look at man. He don't look at Kareen like I'm looking at Kareen. He looks at man and woman by their heart. So he looks at you from the inside,
That's
and so you gotta have that inside. Or people, I can be dressed to the T. Got on all designer clothes, whatever, and driving a Maserati. I'm just speaking my wishes right now. Driving a Maserati, whatever, But I'm all messed up inside, though. I'm looking good on the outside, but I'm all messed up on the inside. Having a form. And that was me. That was my life. Having a form of godliness.
Yes.
But denying the powers thereof. And that's what we're doing in society. As you were saying, we're not connected on that. Like a person, when you were saying that, I was thinking that's just like how back in the day we used to always say, well, soon as I get my life together, soon as I get everything together, I'm going to start going to church. No, that ain't when you start going to church. You start going when, when you need to go. At that point where I'm down and out. Because I'm writing a book myself. I plan on coming out with this year, Faith Through the Trials. And I'm actually on the parable, the sower that sowed, And so that's what I created this book by. And, like we get excited. Kareen, we get excited a lot of times like, oh, I'm going through something. Oh, my life is challenging. Let me go to the church because I know I may have been raised in the church. My mom took me to church. Some people only go to church for funerals. But, Pastor, but I know that if I can get to the church, like the lady that, touched the hem of his garment, the lady with the issue of blood, and she said, if I could just touch the hem of his garment. And so I get to the church and, oh man, I'm happy. I'm excited. Pastor Kareen, she said a message that resonated with me. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, I'm going to come back next week. Oh, that was good. Then persecution comes. Then he snatches that thing which you was excited about. Now it's like, I went to church. I thought everything, but they don't know that when you start, that's when the issues are going to start coming. But you got to stand firm on some things. I know he say in Matthew, he say that those who stand firm to the end, shall be saved. There's going to be some challenges in life. There's going to, but you have to stand firm in what you believe in. And so I thank you for keep going out here preaching that message and doing your thing. I told you I love these type of conversations, Chris. It opens up something in me, you know. And so,
I wanted to kind of piggyback on what you were saying. There's this notion that, again, we're talking about outside in, inside out living here. That spiritual journey is, first of all, individual. That's where it begins, right? So even when we're looking at going to church and joining a community, it's important that it is spirit-led, because there's a lot of different communities out there, and it's a beautiful thing to have that. But your faith cannot be based on because again, going to church is really like a doing thing, right? So it cannot be based on that. It has to be supported. Your faith has to be supported by that. And yes, sometimes what happens is we end up going to church, and that's when we get, you know, either like a revelation of who God is, you know, and we start walking with him through that. But many people, it is through just being alone with themselves in their room where God reveals himself to them. And that's when the journey starts, you know. And so it's so important. And this is one of my passions, is to really like help people have more ease in their intimacy with God, because that is the foundation of your faith, you know, the way that you relate to God one-on-one internally, because God is spirit, you know, and we need to understand that, you know, Jesus said, you know, those who worship in spirit and in truth is really what defines a child of God. It's not where they go to church or stuff like that, you know? And so I love to help people understand that whatever obstacles that are between them and God, you know, this is what is the most important thing. Because again, a church community is going to help in a sense of we need one another. Because God, I like to say, God sometimes chooses to reveal himself in a certain way in a community setting. But the personal one-on-one is really the basis even of the community setting, right? And so we want to make sure that when we help people, when they go through trials, you know, when it comes to their faith, that these trials become soil. Like I love the title of your book and what you're going to be writing about, because when you look at the parable of the sower, it's really about the soil, and it's about making sure that that soil is a good one, you know, for the word to really bear fruit, because Jesus said, it's like, people are going to come to him and say, well, I did this in your name. You know, I cast out demons. I did this. And then he'll be like, well, I never knew you.
Get away from me. I never knew you.
Yeah. So the intimacy with God is the number one thing. You know, you need to know God for yourself and have that intimate passion and just a oneness with him, because that is what changes your life, but also changes other people's lives, because then you use as salt of the earth and, you know, light of the world, which what we're supposed to be, right? And so I just wanted to kind of interject with that.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, because it's true. You know, I had to go through a season. Just, you know what I'm saying, where I had to leave. He just took everybody away from me and whatever. As I thought, I'm like, oh, people, but he moved you into a season where I had to start reading my word and start, you know what I'm saying, having that, like you say, intimate relationship with him, you know. But then I depict when I go to church, now I got a pastor, I'm under the leader. Because one thing I noticed, Kareen, by reading the Bible, is that when God gave a command, when he gave the command to Moses to give to the people or any of the prophets, he gave that person the command on what they should do, this and that. So a lot of times when we look at it, we can, have this person, but it's certain things that he's not going to reveal to us personally. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the man of God or the woman of God he has talked to about Elijah or about, you know what I'm saying, when it was going to rain or whatever. Everybody don't know everything because what the Bible say, Kareen, it say that he gives us teachers, pastors, you know what I'm saying? And after his own heart, it's because they're here to teach us, you know what I'm saying? And if it wasn't so, then he wouldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? So there are certain things that we can only get on a level ourselves, but then it's I believe, I'm not a pastor, I'm not anything but you, so I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying, get it there. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying it's like, it's certain things that he's not going to reveal to me that he will reveal to the man of God about my life. So I have to humble myself enough to be able to be a servant as well, and that's a lot of things too. I don't think, especially men coming up nowadays, we don't want to get up into the pastor. We think the pastor, all he wants is a Cadillac and money. We have to get over these myths and things like that because life is more important than what, the pastor getting into the collection plate. And for real, that's why we give our 10%. So let me ask you, moving forward. I'm serious, you know what I'm saying? Now I can't pronounce this word because it's like a French word, like poula poula poula. And so I'm going to leave that out. But you know what the word I'm talking about is the initiative that you have for women entrepreneurs. I spell it and you say it for me. ELLEAOS with the apostrophe on the top. You know what I'm saying? E, and then it got a question mark. Tell me what that is.
Elle.
See, I knew it was poo. That was French. I can't speak French.
Okay, but the English is she did it. So it's not necessarily a direct translation.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is really the gist of it, right?
Say it again. What it is again? What is it again?
She did it. She did it.
No, the E word. I know she did it.
Elle.
Yeah.
Yeah. The literal translation of Elle is she dared. That's really the literal translation.
Okay.
But yeah, but the English version is she did it.
Okay. So what about this initiative that you got for women entrepreneurs? What inspired you to create this movement?
Yeah, so it was back in 2018. My husband and I had a co-working space and helping entrepreneurs. We were renting them space to operate, and we did some entrepreneurial gatherings, but I felt that the women needed something a little bit different in a sense that there's a space where we're able to collaborate, support one another, learn from one another. And the goal of She Did It was really to help women that are just starting out to be in connection with women that have done it, and the idea is that, she did it and so can you. So you can too. So sometimes, we have these desires, and especially if we don't grow up in a family where there's entrepreneurs or that we're exposed to entrepreneurs, we don't realize that we have what it takes as well. And so the whole goal was to give them a way to be inspired and motivated by other women, seeing other women doing their thing and understanding that they have the opportunity as well to do that.
I like that. Women Initiative. So, Kareen, really appreciate you coming on the show today. Loving your insights. And, you talk about this word of God. That always fires me. So, where can we find your book? Where can we find you on social media? And all these good things.
Yeah. So the second book is still under construction, but I will definitely share it on my social media when it's there. I'm basically everywhere. So whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I even have a Pinterest. So my first book, actually, there's some information on my social media because I did a live reading of my book. So it's a 21-day personal development book. And I did a live reading and gave a bit of insights, for each day. So anybody who's into personal development will find some nuggets. But if you're just starting out, looking at, what it could be to include personal development in your life, you'll definitely find it very, very useful. So if you type my name, you'll find me and you'll find my book. It's called Dare to Rise.
Y'all hear Kareen? She said, I know she's passionate everything. I'm still in the hip hop world a little bit. She said she like Tupac a little bit. She said she ain't hard to find. So just put an at before her name. Google her. You will find her out there doing her thing. So Kareen, I only have one more question for you.
Yes.
But I do have a quick fire round that it's been a fan favorite and a guest favorite. I will ask you 5 questions and you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But if you hesitate in any way stumble on these questions, you will get the that means that you fail.
Oh my
and so,
goodness. Wow.
So we don't want you to fail.
Be quick on your feet.
Yeah, I will fail this pastor right here today if you don't ask these questions in a timely manner.
Right.
But before I get there, let me ask you this. What are some common misunderstandings people have about mental health and personal growth?
Yeah, so one thing is they mistake mental health and mental illness very often, but the two are very different. So you could have good mental health and have a mental illness, but you can also have bad mental health and not have a mental illness. And so understanding the difference between the two is very, very important. And one quick thing that people can do is Google the mental health continuum. Just Google mental health continuum and you will see that we are all on the mental health spectrum. So it comes from the very healthy to very ill. And so understanding the signs and what constitutes the different stages of the spectrum is really important.
I like that. I'm on a mental health challenge too, because I remember what he said, that the people was asking him a question like, why is he eating with the sinners or whatever? And it said that he heard them, Kareen, and he said, I didn't come for those who are well.
Absolutely.
I came for those who are sick. I'm sick because I need help. You know what I'm saying? I need help.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't know I had mental issues coming up. But now that I look back over my life, I had a lot of them and didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said earlier, it's something coming up in our community or whatever. It's just certain things that wasn't talked about. ADHD, things like that. If it was such a thing that they were diagnosing people with ADHD back when I was in elementary school, I would have been at the top of the board because I was just one of them kids. I was curious. I was bad. I was curious. I just put it like that. Stayed in trouble. So, but had a good upbringing, had a good mother and father. I can't put that like, I ain't had my daddy around. I had my mother and father. I was just curious about certain things. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it was. So, you ready for this quick fire round?
Okay, let's try it.
All right. Favorite mental health strategy you use daily?
Definitely journaling.
She don't want to get that One book besides your own that changed your life.
Yes, Permission to... Oh, shoot. I forgot the actual title. Okay, wait. Permission to Live Free.
Permission to Live Free. Okay, I take that back. So that's slow walking it. So she passed out. Coffee, tea, or smoothie?
Coffee.
I see she at the hotel lobby right now, so she probably got a whole thing of black coffee, husband sitting on the side waiting with the metal thing. Or do you drink
sugar,
Starbucks like
cream.
no sugar?
No sugar.
That's nasty. That's that Haiti stuff. Yo.
You're hilarious. Oh my gosh. I do put flavor though, but I don't put sugar. Anyway,
she drinking coffee from Haiti, you all. That's that Haiti Starbucks. your go-to self-care activity.
I love to sit by the water. That's a big thing for me.
Okay, so I take it that you go to a lot of islands and see the blue water, like in Jamaica, the Bahamas and stuff. I know Jamaica has some beautiful water. I can't swim, so I couldn't get it.
By the way, it's just, the climate is different nowadays, but it's a beautiful island, really. Anyway.
Haiti got beautiful water?
Very beautiful.
Oh, that's why.
Best beach I've ever been was in Haiti, and I've been to a lot of beaches.
So y'all probably getting y'all coffee water from there. That's why you don't need no sugar, huh? I get it. You telling me a lot about yourself, Kareen. You telling me a lot. I tell you what, I ain't drinking no water from Haiti. I ain't drinking no. I got to put some sugar in my coffee.
There's
I'm not a coffee drinker.
There's a misconception about Haiti, which is very sad, but hey.
Yeah.
That's another conversation.
Hey, cause the conception I got about Haiti is watching them on Bad Boys, too. On Bad Boys, when they came and said, "Let's go to Haitians," and they was like, "Broombaka," and they finna kick their butt. That's
the thing, the conception comes from the perception, and that's a problem. But it's another podcast.
That's a whole other, Bushwick Bill, wasn't he from Haiti or something? From the Ghetto Boys? You know what the Ghetto Boys is? You don't know the Ghetto. Well,
that tells me something, but
yeah, they was from Houston. I think Bushwick Bill from Haiti too. So that's where I get my perception from, or whatever.
Okay.
He was a gangster. So anyway, biggest myth about personality you wish you could bust.
Well, it's the importance of it. Mm-hmm. Most people don't believe that taking an assessment is actually going to be life-changing, but especially with the DISC, countless people have experienced that. So, yeah.
She passed you all, although she drinking that coffee with no sugar. But, so Kareen, can you leave us with one nugget on our way out of here?
Yes. So everyone has something to contribute to the world. And so just take the time to be before you do. Choose yourself, because it is the real you that's going to make an impact in your everyday surrounding, but also it could actually bring you way further than you think. So make sure that you choose yourself is my biggest message.
I like that. Choose yourself. Hey, if you enjoyed this conversation today, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with all. Don't forget to go pick up Kareen's book, Supercharge Your Well-Being, and check out her women's entrepreneurship movement. She did it. I can't pronounce the other word. That's a little French. Every time she said, I get a little tongue-tied. I'm sometimes like Moses. I stutter, and I just don't want to say it. So, you have been listening to the CJ Moneyway Show with my girl Kareen, or I shouldn't say Kareen, my girl, with Pastor Kareen on the show today. Thank her for coming by. Until the next time, this your boy CJ Moneyway. We out of here. Peace.
Before you go, let me leave you with this. Every story shared here, it's a reminder that your story matters too. Keep your faith sharp, keep your focus steady, keep your vision clear. And if this episode gave you wisdom, hope, or a push forward, share it with somebody you love. Tap in with me on all platforms, Edge Moneyway, and stay locked into the movement, because God's not done writing your chapter. This is the CJ Moneyway Show. Brick by brick, and always Moneyway.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.